Our next edition in Ghana, I'm pleased to announce, we will be going to Kumasi. We will be going to Kumasi.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to be the host of today's session, Tech in Ghana, the Royal Build-Up. I am joined with experts in their fields from across the various sectors, and today we're diving into how tech is changing traditional industries. Industries have existed since time itself, and now we're seeing how tech has changed it. We might take it for granted because I'm sure we're using it extensively, but we're going to go look and deep dive in today's session. My name is Isaac Newton Akwan from The Innovation Spark, and I'm going to be today's moderator. And I'm going to ask my guests to introduce themselves, starting with Khadija. But also, in your introduction, please take us back to how your industry was like before tech. We'll have Khadija, Princess, and then Adam, and then Kwame. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. So brief intro, my name is Khadija and I'm the co-founder of Dr. Do Good. So at Dr. Do Good, we are making healthcare easily accessible, leveraging on technology, and putting the patient or the user first. So what healthcare generally was like before tech? I would say, first of all, before tech, healthcare was mainly, in terms of how care was organized, was mainly very facility centric. Even in terms of how records or data was stored, very paper heavy. In terms of how even patients access healthcare, right? If you are not able to access a clinic or you're not able to visit, like the typical ward structure, you won't be able to access healthcare. Then in terms of even financing, very cash heavy, you need to hold cash to be able to access it. Then claiming like insurance, so private insurance, social insurance that is usually given to by the government. And then even in terms of how clinical guidelines were given even to the healthcare providers, you would find that the healthcare protocols were also very paper heavy, right? So if you're a healthcare provider and there's like some kind of outbreak, the protocols for how to handle that outbreak were either given to you either like in a poster form or handbook form. Diagnostics, like very paper heavy, very like the clinical workflows were paper heavy, hence came with like a lot of delays. Yeah.
No, thank you. I keep saying the biggest competition to digital is not another startup, but it's paper. But yes, being very paper heavy. So health, going from health now to agriculture. Please, Princess.
All right, thank you, Isaac. Hi, everyone. So, my name is Princess Anita, the Vice President for Business Growth and Partnership for Farmerline. So, Farmerline, what we do is you can think about it as three simple things. We give farmers to the knowledge that they need to grow our food well, and then provided access to the resources that they need, like financing and the tools that they need to grow our food well. And then lastly, they are in business to make profit. So give them access to quality market. Before technology in agriculture, I want you to think about it this way: the ancient way or the analog way of farming. A smallholder farmer can have access to 2 acres or 3 acres of land. As we all know, an acre is 4 plots. So assuming that for 16 or let's say 12 plots of land, your grandfather or your grandmother has planted all 12 plots of land maize by hand, manually. And at the end of the harvesting season, she's not sure how much she's going to get at the end of the day of all the hard work that she managed to put single seed on the ground. She waits for a couple of months to harvest, unsure about how much she's going to get. At the end of her toil, she has to go back to the farm, possibly with her grandchildren, and then peel off the maize from the plantation hand by hand, one after the other. It can take them days to do that. In the ancient days, before they finish, some of the maize would have spoiled. They get too exhausted, they may not even harvest it all, or because they didn't have access to the right knowledge to apply some good input on the ground, they didn't get the required harvest they need from all the backbreaking activities. So I want you to have that picture in mind whilst we dive into much deeper conversation, how technology is supporting some of these um, pain points for the smallholder farmers. Right, over Isaac.
Thank you very much. It's the ancient days. It's sad that some people are still doing things in the ancient days, but we're going to dive into that. Adam, I'm coming to you. People are already talking about fintech and money, and you make money move. Fintech specialist. Please, if you don't do your full introduction, don't worry, I will. So please let people know who you are, why I'm so happy to have you on this call, and what was
Sure.
money like? I guess what was fintech before tech?
Yeah, so thanks very much for that. So I'm Adam Quinton, currently lead fintech business at Cowbank. Yeah, that's what I currently do. But just to talk about what tech was, no, before tech entering into the industry, I think Princess, I enter into what you just said. In this case, I think we're all farmers where we needed to dig into the ground, in this case, to be keeping money in there and all of that. And so that's how it was, more driven by mortar and blocks in this case. However, today a lot of things have changed. And I always speak about the experience that I remember times where we had to queue so much to be able to even buy passport forms and all of that, going to the banking hall to do a whole lot of things. But today, just with tech, you're able to stay right at the comfort of your house, because you're assured of speed, convenience, security, and you just stay at the comfort of your home and you'll be able to do so much. So that's what has actually transformed in my sector in this case when it comes to the financial side. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You skipped a few things, but don't worry.
Uh,
I was thinking that Adam has won some big prizes of PI Africa Summit, doing a lot of things in the blockchain space. I'll weave it in later. Coming to you, Kwame, you know you're in danger. Education. We look at education as being the backbone to moving us forward. You are the president of the EdTech Alliance. I guess you'll talk more about that. But what was education like before the people in your community? And let's know what you are doing.
Right. Thank you so much. Super happy to be here. My name is Kwame Nyaswame. On the continent and around the globe, I am Africa's biggest EdTech enthusiast and storyteller. In Ghana, I am the president of the Ghana EdTech Alliance.
Yeah.
I'm the president of the Ghana EdTech Alliance. The Ghana EdTech Alliance is pretty much an association of education technology startups and companies in Ghana. So pretty much on my day-to-day, I'm interacting with really exciting and innovating entrepreneurs who are looking to leverage on technology to improve education as we know it, right? What was education like before this, tech coming in? Wow. I would say it began informally where it was, you pretty much followed an expert in whatever field it is. So you did a lot of observation/apprenticeship. If we take it even a little further back, we could talk about, scribbling with our fingers. Then we began to identify rocks that could help us imprint what we had in our minds and draw all of those. And then from there, we got to the blackboard, chalk. Then now we've moved to a whiteboard. Now we're using markers. Then now we're using smart boards. Now smart boards are available. We are talking about projectors in the classroom to make, the whole education experience more interactive, more engaging. Now we are talking apps. So we are talking about exciting innovations like a QNO, eCampus, Africosity, and then if you look globally, you're talking about a Udemy, a Coursera, a Duolingo, a Khan Academy, many exciting tools that are in a sense, transforming the education experience as we know it. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you very much. Yesterday, you also got to see Go Student, an Austrian unicorn that's doing things in the tech space. So I'm asking you this, so we can also start, let's have a base for the audience that's listening, because I think we get now very familiar with tech. We have our phones, we have our smartphones, we're online. So now tech has invaded all these areas. But I think it's good to start off where we were before tech, and the conference of tech in Ghana 2026, 2025 is when tradition meets innovation, right? So we're really looking at these traditional industries. These are all very old, established industries, and seeing how tech is transforming them. So, what does reinventing these industries look like, but especially in the Ghana context? We'll start again with Madame Khadija. Healthcare. What does it look like reinventing it, adding tech in the Ghana context? What are you doing, and what are you seeing the benefits of tech?
I mean, so when we look at healthcare in general, the very foundation of it is built on a science, right? It's built on science and technology. But when we look at like its delivery in itself, you find out that we've moved like quite ahead. Technology has influenced even how like your healthcare provider delivers that care to you. We've moved from like the very physical world structure, which I keep saying, to like to the telemedicines, to even how blood and medications are even delivered. So you look at a zip line with
Hmm.
drone deliveries, even how even how research is done for certain populations, right? So you take a look at Yemachi, which is focused more on oncology research for people of like diverse populations. So like our kind of people. So in essence, or it's moving more from the more facility centric to more of a more patient centric. How do you easily accessible to anyone at all, right?
No. Okay, thank you. I actually go to Adam next. I think in the fintech space, mobile money, I mean, going to patient centric, mobile money is the biggest change. Before you have to come into a physical bank, now you can transact from anywhere. Beyond mobile money, what are you seeing in the fintech space, and how is it changing the way we do business?
For my space, one of the things that you realize is that we moved a lot from the analog way of doing things, manual way of doing things, to more of a digital way of doing things. Today, everyone is building regards to and have behind their minds a more customer centric focus, and that's what has happened. Well, we just spoke about how the industry was before. So the banking has been in there for a long time, and then you realize that it's actually powering a lot of industries in this case, because every industry needs the financial industry to be able to move forward. In this case, how can we make people's life much easier? How can we make people's life much more convenient, people to have a softer life in this case? And that's where you see a lot of changes now. Taking the model from the banks, where banks have always been or in the past moved in the more traditional setting, and today you see them move away from that. It also tells you that it's really important for us to be able to do some of these changes. And with mobile money, one of the things is even to speak about the interoperability that's happening. In this case, money moving from one channel to another has also come to make it much better and easy. But just to take a step back a little, you realize that one of the things that's made it very easy for some of these things to happen happens to be with industries like the telecommunications, where in this case they're able to get to the last mile. So in this case, connectivity is increasing and all of that. And I always say education too has also come to add a part to it, because I always speak of the fact that some 10 years ago, if you go to the market without cash, it would have been, if he had gone with cash, in this case, you can survive. But if he had gone without cash, where your money is sitting on your phone, it would have been a different story. In this case, technology is making all of these stories become a possibility. Today, an old lady who is even in the market is willing to accept mobile money and all of that. So it just tells you that things are paying. Things are really changing in this case. It comes to the kind of products that we are building. Now we are building towards to customers' lifestyles. How can we make their lifestyles much easier? Which I spoke of the story of the passport, being able to acquire a passport. Today, Farmer Line needs to also make payment to their farmers and all of that. In this case, they need a financial to be able to do this. So it's actually been a huge journey, and we've been able to reinvent all of this, where we moved away from the manual ways of doing things and then moved it to the digital way. Today, you can apply for a loan, and within 2 minutes, you get a feedback to know whether it's been approved or rejected. In this case, we are reinventing everything when it comes to the financial landscape, and we are focusing on the customer in this case, because they're the key in this case. How can we make businesses and all of that much better in this case? So that's what we are doing in our industry, and reinventing all of this. Yeah.
No, thank you. I mean, I'm sure Kwame is very happy. You mentioned education is also very key. I'm just coming from the Global World Congress in Kigali, talking about telecoms, and they also mentioned that they're a key player in helping things. So we heard about patient-centric and customer-centric. We heard about convenience. Anita, you were speaking about the ancient ways and the back-breaking pains farmers had to do, not knowing if they're going to get money or not. How are things changed now, thanks to Farmer Line, and thanks to tech?
All right. Thanks, Isaac. So I would go back to the same scenario that I gave you. So for me, or for us, technology is about making farming smarter and fairer. So the scenario I gave you, it's about, manually planting 12 plots by an old lady. Technology now, it's about giving access to real-time information on which period to grow the food. In the ancient days, they would just wake up and go and plant maize based on, I don't know how they do it, but some form of instinct. And if they get lucky, they are able to have some form of yield. But now, technology is about providing access to real-time information, weather advisory services, that they know that today is going to rain. At this period, this is your planting season, this is when it's going to rain, and this is your harvesting period. And that is based on the information that we're giving them. Now, to talk about information regardless of the kind of farm, technology now is giving access to information in local languages. I cannot communicate in English to my grandmother in somewhere in the hinterlands that is growing food. She may try to understand, but she will not get the right knowledge out of the information we are giving her to grow the food. So now technology is allowing us to communicate to them in local languages. And based on the knowledge, they grow the food well. They're able to understand and then even predict the number of yield or the quantity of bags that they can harvest at the end of the harvesting season based on this knowledge. Based on the same processes that we're giving them, now they've gotten some form of literacy, right? And this ecosystem that we find ourselves here is very much connected in some way. So you give them access to trainings in local languages like financial literacy, education, health, and all that. And based on the adoption of all these knowledges, it can be used some form of credit for them to access financing. Back in the days, Adam can attest to that, and I think all of us may attest to that, that no farmer can walk up to any financial institution and say, I want a loan, and they can easily get it. No, but with the help of technology, I think the likes of Farmer will be there with the help of technology. There's some form of knowledge that helps you to use as a first level of credit the risk for these farmers to access financing from all these financial institutions. That is one. Lastly, is they are in business to make money. So at the end of the day, with the technology and the yield prediction rate, businesses all over the globe, like Farmerline, the various agribusinesses that are aggregators, they buy the commodities. You already connect them to market, so they know they have a ready market for all the the harvesting that you're going to do. So, and this is purely out of technology. So I think that's some of the interesting and amazing things that technology is doing within the agriculture space.
Amazing. I love the localization, making sure things are in, so not just customer centric and convenient, but now also in the language that you understand, helping you across the whole thing, from even education being remote, know what money you're getting. So now helping the farmers, I think it's so important because what something like 40% of the population of Ghana are in the agriculture business. So the amount of reach and people you touch with technology is now crazy. It's insane. So thank you so much, Anita. Kwame, come to you. People keep talking about your field, education. How has that changed thanks to technology? You get to work with some leading tech. I mean, you mentioned QNO, STEM Aid, and others. How is that changing the way that things are done?
Mm, mm. I mean, I was really enjoying all of the things that the panelists were saying. It just goes to tell you how the world has changed so dramatically, right? To the point where I think I was having a conversation some time back, and we're talking about the printer, right? To think that now I can just, tap something on my PC and then boom, it prints somewhere else. That is like, mind blowing, right? And to think that, now I can be sitting here in this workshop or this conference, right? And slide into Jay-Z's comments just to say hello to him. Whether he responds or not is another conversation, right? But that just shows, that the whole conversation around transformation or change, it's happening, and it's sometimes we take certain things for granted, but we've come a long way. As the conversation was going on, this, if you like, breakdown of what reinvention means came to mind. So I'm thinking reinvention comes to mind as a result of a desire or need to be better, effective, efficient, or want better outcomes, right? And I'm seeing it across the board. When it comes to education, right? I guess the first one is this, right? Who knew some many, many years ago that we could have, a situation where we can all come together in this spot and talk about maybe algebra, or talk about maybe, some science conversation, or building robots, or just discussing stuff in the classroom, right? As basics. Technology has come to make that possible, right? So now, even in talking about education, you don't think about the four walls of a classroom. You're thinking, okay, we can have a hybrid situation, or we can have an online situation, right? It rolls off our tongue so easily now, to where it's like people make it sound like it's been there for a while, but it's as a result of technology. The other bit has to do with a funny example that's coming into my mind right now is, I'm sure all of us experienced, class registration, right? So when we're in primary school or JHS, they need to mention Isaac Newton. Yes, sir. Everybody says yes, sir. But then now we have situations now where kids just have to kids, teachers, and people within the school environment just have to go and thumbprint, and then they recognize that you are present in school, right? To the point where now, when kids close from school, whoever picks them, the parent or the guardian gets an alert immediately to know that the child has been picked up, from school by this particular person. All of this has become possible. I guess fundamentally with all of this, right? It's to get us to the point where we realize that, is there a way we can have 10,000 Akosua Nobels? Is there a way we can have 10,000 Isaac Newtons? Is there a way we can multiply and have maybe a million Elon Musk? Right? What am I saying? I'm saying that education has an outcome. The whole idea of education is to put the human resource in a position where it's able to be competent, capable, and be able to contribute meaningfully to the space that they find themselves, right? At least that's first. And I think that in our context, we have that situation where we have a lot of problems. And I was saying in another session that I think that of all the places we could have been born, right, the die was cast, and it is this place that we were born. And I do believe that, whoever cast that die believes that we are in the best position to be able to bring a certain transformation to the context. And that's where education comes in. And so in my mind, if you do have, technology, if you do have even emerging technology now like AI, etc., that is able to speed up the breakdown of concepts as we've known them, is able to speed up the process of assimilation, for example, to where now if we're learning algebra for 3 weeks, right, in a term, can we shorten it to a week, right, to a stage where even in terms of assessment, right, we can have learners have multiple sessions of assessment on a particular topic in different styles at the level that they are at. Is there a way that is possible? Is there a way we can get to the point where when it comes to farming, finance, etc., we are having a whole bunch of our youthful population that are building stuff, that are improving the situation on in our country, on the continent as we know it. All of these things have become imaginable as a result of technology, and I am over the moon about it. And in sense, I am eager to see what at least Ghana and the continent can do by effectively leveraging on technology to improve education as we know it, because it fundamentally has to do with the human resource of the continent.
No, I love it. Kwame, I just want to stick with you. And I love what you're saying. But now the challenge I want to bring to you is sounds great for urban centers. How does technology look like when we go into the rural areas? Can the same technology still operate and work and do the transformation you're talking about? Or is it only limited to the capitals of Accra, Kumasi, and Tamale?
Fantastic question. And for me, that's where, if you like, the creativity comes in. So having that baseline, having that foundational understanding that you are here in this particular region for a reason, right? If you do put yourself through any form of education, you understand that you want to spread the benefits of the value that you've received via education across the board, right? Not in certain spots. So that's where I think that a lot of the innovations that pop up, especially in education, across Ghana and across the continent, pretty much exemplifies what is happening on the ground. So we have products like Asanka, for example. There was another one that I interacted with in Kenya, for example. So it's called EdSet, but the solution is called Juza AI, where they have these offline capabilities, right? So is this device where you are able to access educational resources, have assessments, have videos, etc. All of that offline, right? That just shows you that these entrepreneurs understand what's happening in our context. Raising this a bit higher, it just goes to show that if there is an understanding across the board between policy, between academia, between industry, us collectively understanding that we are trying to build our space, we want to ensure that the human resource of the country is in a position where it's able to offer meaningful value, as we've seen across other regions across the world. That collaboration, if it's done in a very seamless manner, puts us in a position where we get very, very creative, right? How do we make sure that that young girl or that young male child in the north somewhere, right, has access to good quality education? Can it be online? Can we have it in a way where even without the availability of the internet? Is there a way even without the availability of power, for example? Because that's a real issue on the ground. Electricity, we don't talk about it enough, but it's a real issue on the ground. Is there a way they are still able to ensure that teaching and learning takes place? And I'm excited to say that we have a number of really exciting edtech innovators in the space who are speaking to these pain points. And it's just a matter of time. I do genuinely believe, I'm an optimist by nature. I do genuinely do believe that we are going to get to the point where a lot of these solutions are going to cut across. It won't just be in the regions, the capitals alone, like Accra, Kumasi, etc., but it's going to spread across, and education is going to be so accessible to everybody.
No, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Khadija, I'm coming to you next. In Africa, and let's just say Ghana for now, we have a lack of doctors per patient numbers, which is already crazy. And then, of course, once you leave the cities, it gets even harder. How is Dr. Dogood and other health techs helping solve that problem, and also helping address this issue of rural areas and using technologies there?
Yes, you are very right. And just to paint a picture in your heads, for every one doctor, it's around 6,000 patients. So
Wow.
you can do the math. Um,
How is
so
that even possible? But please continue. The math is not nothing, but please
it's not
continue.
like at all. That's why they are always angry. That's why they are always stressed out. So you can't blame them too much. So in terms of how technology is helping, I always say that tech solutions like ours are not, like saying that we are going to increase the number of doctors that are available. However, we are going to make them more efficient, and to be able to do their work better. I'll give you a typical example. So we have patients as far as the Bono Ahafo region, right? Some in the northern region. One of my very, very favorites, she is in the northern region. She was able to access a gynecologist through our platform consistently, right? She was put on medications, and now I'm sure she has even given birth. So she got pregnant somewhere last year. I'm sure we've not followed up on the pregnancy, but I'm sure she has given birth. This is how technology is, like influencing things such as this. Ideally, if she was like going to see a specialist in the clinic, traditionally in rural areas, they have days when they come, right? And on those days when they are even supposed to be at the hospital, you may go there and then he won't even be there. So how do you follow up, consistently on your treatment? This is where Dr. Dogood comes in. You're able to access him virtually. He's able to put you on medications. We are able to facilitate the labs for you. You find out that even some of these diagnostics that you are supposed to do in the area that you are in, there's no lab that does that because they are specific to certain, like regions. So we would find, coordinate it, and you're able to do that. For areas in for rural areas, I agree with Kwame. It's always meeting the people where they are, right? So I always say that Momo has proved that if you're able to meet people where they are, you would have them use it. So something as simple as USSD, everyone knows how to use USSD, right? So build your solution on top of things that people are familiar with. If in the rural areas you find out that it's just a YAM phone that is it's used there, build to suit that. Um, someone brought up a very interesting opinion on the use of TikTok, because you find out that most people actually like TikTok. So if it is disseminating information, use things that are, like um what's the word, are more familiar with people. So things like TikTok. I didn't know that there was something called antenna. I found out last week. Apparently, it's a woman who, like talks about social issues, and oh no, she has like the attention of people. So if that is where you would get people to, like know about your solution, use your solution, please use antenna. So yeah.
No, I love it, and thank you for that. And it's so true. I mean, just even the struggle of walking to the clinic, you have to maybe walk to the nearest town to go to the clinic to find the person isn't there. You have to put a schedule together, so you have to wait for your issues day and then get there, hopefully,
Exactly.
and the
Yeah.
person not there. But
Yeah.
now just through, I guess, USSD or one phone call, you can get access.
Yeah.
Adam, I'm coming to you. People are talking about your thing again, mobile, everywhere you go, like MTN. How is, or I mean, I guess for you and Anita, you have a different story because you guys are in the rural areas. But how have you seen the adoption and the impact of fintech solutions in the rural areas? And what is it doing for that population there? So you're currently on mute. No, can't hear you. So in the meantime, I'll go to Anita. Then we'll come back here.
Is it better now?
Okay. Please go ahead.
It's better. Okay,
Yeah.
great. So let me start by going this way. So I'm a big fan of collaboration, and I think one of the things that's made even the financial industry to be able to get to certain places has to do with some of these collaborations. For us, it's about serving everyone. We promote more financial inclusion. We are not leaving anyone in this case. So the rural areas are also places that we also focus mainly on, especially when it comes to financial technology or when it comes to the financial industry. Now we have players like the banks, we have the players like fintechs, we have players like mobile money, and even the telco, where we are able to partner with them to be able to do all of this. Now there's someone somewhere where maybe if the banks can't even reach there due to certain partnerships. In this case, they're able to get to that last mile or the person over there. So today we have the likes of mobile money. Today we see a lot of partnerships with the telcos to be able to power some of this and make it easier. We also have the likes of embedded financing when it comes to. So we have other industries that certain places in this case. How can we be able to reach out to these customers? Today we can have a partnership with Farmerline to be able to provide services like loans, savings, and investment, or all of that to their farmers. We can, with Khadija, we will be able to partner and be able to process that payment. Even she mentioned the USSD, which I'm so happy about riding on all of this. In this case, there's already an existing digital infrastructure that has been put in place. How can we use the offline capabilities out of that to be able to serve customers like this? Another thing too that you see is we are redefining how we create products in this case. So in this case, aside that you're creating for a mobile app and all of that, which you have people using that, you're also looking at other avenues for people to have some of this. Another thing that we've introduced or you see happening in the industry has to do with the agent network. So in this case, you're leveraging on the agent network, because in this case, you have an agent sitting somewhere cut across all the country. In this case, how would he be able to partner with this agent to be able to offer some of this? Even with regards to offline capabilities, or even you creating products that even the interfaces are more understandable for someone who is out there to be able to interact with all of this. And all of this is being powered by collaboration in this case. And it's one of the things I always speak about. If you check most of the articles I put out there, for us to be able to serve every customer onto the market, we need to be able to come together to do some of these things to be able to serve. Today, I'm sure that teachers somewhere that will need to be paid, they'll need to be able to perform all of that, parents be able to do all of those transactions. We are there to create new platforms or even leverage the existing ones we have. Today, mobile money, I think in 2024 performed over 4 billion transactions, and you realize that it's actually growing in this case. As much as the digital adoption is growing, you realize that adoption to digital payments are also growing. And how are some of these things happening? It's through the online and offline channels. You see a huge chunk when it comes to the offline in this case to be able to perform all of these transactions. And for us as a financial industry, it doesn't just stop right there at the customer. It's also for businesses in this case, for SMEs, for big corporates in this case. How can we make their lives easier for them to be able to reach to the last person out there in this case? And these are some of the things that, so we are not leaving anyone in this case. Even the regulator promotes for us to make sure at the time we are building, we are considering financial inclusion in everything that we do. So it just tells you that right from the top to the last person is always considered in this case to be able to serve people in all kind of parts of the country, whether urban or rural in this case. So these are some of the things that have been put in place. Yeah.
I want to stay with you. I mean, Anita's
Sure.
story was all about the rural. So she already mentioned about how farmer and agri is helping the rural area. But
Yeah.
we kept talking about collaboration. So
Yeah.
maybe move on to that topic of collaboration. What
Yeah.
can we do with the startups collaborating with each other? And I'm really happy that we have collaborative startups on this call. And looking forward to see what happens from this. But how can we collaborate? How do we do it with the government, with other corporates? What do we need to do to make it more effective and bring tech out? As you talk about the transformational power it has. How do we accelerate this change?
This is a good question, and I love to tackle it in this way. Over the past years, you realize that there's a lot of changes that has happened in the ecosystem, and that even has to do with now today you have regulators coming together to even come about a certain sandbox in this case to help people be able to enter and know how to collaborate in this case. Today you have the likes of Bank of Ghana, SEC, and that for insurance in this case, even coming together to bring about some of these things because collaboration is huge. And for us in the financial sector, the good part is we mostly sit in the middle of all of them because you realize that every industry at some point becomes a fintech in this case because they are going to process payments and then in this case. But for us to be able to come together and work on this, we have to be able to come together, have certain environment to test out the use case. In this case, clear out the gray areas before we can move forward. Because you don't want to offer a certain service that wouldn't be worth the person's products in this case. It's supposed to have an impact on someone's life. And I always tell people that for maybe a farmer sitting somewhere, a student somewhere in far away, in the rural areas, we are having an impact on that person's life. So how best can we come together and make this a possibility? Today we have the telcos app, the mobile money app partnering with the banks to even create savings products for some of this people in this case. But for some of this to happen in this case, the environment must be ready to accommodate all of this. And you have the regulatory authorities to make some of these things happen. And now it's so huge. You recently, I think at a recent event talking about fintech, is hearing the regulators speak about some of the things that they're putting in place for all of this to happen. It really excites me in this case because I know we'll be able to change lives, we'll be able to have an impact on people's lives. And for me, it's always fulfilling when I see that someone is able to perform a transaction, someone is able to do something, even not right on my platform or but on other industries' platform in this case, because it's being powered by the financial technology industry to be able to move all of this. So in this case, you see a lot is changing and we are coming together. I don't think now we even see ourselves as competitors. It's more about how can we come together to make people's life more easy and make money out of that. So that's more where the industries have moved into. Yeah.
No, thinking I go back to one of my first submissions that we're not competitors. Our biggest competition is paper and
Yeah,
pen,
that's I
right?
tell
And
you.
if we can grow the industry, because we still have some people who aren't on using technology and the benefit it has, and I mean, fintech is so pervasive,
Yeah.
so it's everywhere, right? So it's you're paying for your child's school fees, you're paying for your medical bills, you're paying for food, you're paying for inputs. It's really everywhere. So enabling payments just unlocks so much. But please, Anita, I'm coming to you, please. What we need to do about collaboration and how can we accelerate change?
Okay, thanks for that. I think I will just echo what Adam just said. Um, we need to stop working in silos. That's what I can say. Earlier in my submission, I mentioned that even the four of us here, the sectors are connected. Ed tech is connected, finance is connected, and then health tech is also connected. Everyone has a role to play in this ecosystem. Startups can bring innovation and speed. Government brings scale and policy, and some private companies can bring market and then funding. Think about this way: Farmerline is not a bank. We are not a bank, but we are in business to support the farmers to create more wealth for themselves. How do they do that? Access to knowledge. Um, the knowledge that we want to impact of the. If I want to impact financial literacy, financial management, I need to work with a financial institution or financial organization that can help me draft that context. And then our technology will convert it into the local languages and then send that to them, right? And clearly it's aligned with government policies. If it's about health care, because agriculture is not just about growing food, it's about the livelihood of the farmer. So health, finance, and on one mission. And that mission is to ensure that we're creating profit and then wealth for these people, good life, and then greater health, and then also access to the right knowledge that they need. I think collaboration is something that we cannot do away with. It's a must have. It's a must have. And in our sector, for example, when we started operation, like I said, 10 years ago, most of these financial organizations obviously saw agriculture as a risky area to, finance, because they were not in the rural areas. The likes of Farmerline that have worked in the rural areas do have practical experience of how to work with these farmers. So you collaborate and then you help these financial institutions to extend financing based on they don't need to start from the ground. You've already been through the pain points, there's lesson learned, and then there's a skill. So at the skill point, they come into the picture and then they extend that form of support that they need. And I think that's some of the innovations that we're seeing now. Today, if you go to, and I think Adam, again, you can attest to that, if you go to most of the banks, you see agribusiness dexes that were not there a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Well, I mean, thank you for that. So, I mean, we've seen that technology can really change things. We need a lot of collaboration. Government is key, policy is part, large companies, small companies, consumers as well. We all play our parts. We're all talking about the beautiful things that technology is already doing in our field. But I think one of the issues I still see is adoption being an issue. And Khadija, I want to come to you because I think the healthcare space is a very interesting one. You're dealing with very personal data. It's very timely. It's very sensitive. You get something wrong, it's not just like, oh, I don't get my loan, but someone could die. But yes, how do you handle adoption? What do you think is necessary for adoption to grow for tech, both in the healthcare and also these other industries?
So I look at it from two perspectives, from builders and then from users. I would say for us as builders, it still brings you back to meeting our users where they are. So you are not building for yourself; you are building for like someone to actually use. So when we are building, we should sometimes we like to make it like very fancy, make it for us to understand, but we are not the end users. So essentially meet your users where they are, right? Yes, we may do all that, but then there would still be an issue with adoption, especially when it comes to something that we are not used to as a people. I like to say that post COVID, things virtual are more acceptable. Like we are literally on this, having a whole, like discussion. We get on meetings on Zoom, on Google Meet. So virtual stuff are more acceptable. But then again, it is healthcare. We are coming from a background where um if I'm not sitting face to face with a doctor, it means that whatever it is that whoever it is that is saying is not true, or you've not taken care of me well. So how do we tackle that? A lot of education needs to go into that. One, two, and build trust. So if for us, for example, we make sure that whoever or whichever healthcare provider that you're onboarding has been verified by their various, like councils. So you are not just bringing anybody in. You can verify that this person is actually an actual doctor. The user can verify. That way we've built trust. Even in the service delivery from end to end, you are with the user. So from when they book the consultation, they are seeing that there's someone behind it. There's a face behind it. There's someone that I can speak to if I'm having an issue 24/7. I always say this: we are available 24/7.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, there's like a lot of hand holding up until when like we've been able to build that trust for our user that okay, this is a brand that we can trust. This is a brand that will deliver like the best quality healthcare, and puts me first. So it's a lot of trust building. That is for the builder side. And then for the user side, I was having a conversation with Kwame the other time, and he mentioned that there are times when you speak to like to a school, and then they go like, oh, it won't work. They just shut down the idea, right? We need to move to the point where we are open. We want to explore. It may not work, right? But we should be open to test it out. So that's the only way, like we would grow as a people and as a community.
So many good points. So many good points. Really make sure you know who you're building for. Building for. I think in your early submission, you talk about being patient centric. So really make sure you put yourself in the shoes of who you're serving. Tech is just a tool, and if it's not serving the person, it's not doing anything it's supposed to do. And I think yes, maybe going beyond school. I think us as a people, as Ghana, we need to be more open, more creative, more willing to take risks and try new things. Right. We have a little bit of time left. I want to hear from all of you about the game-changing technologies and how that's maybe impacting your sector. I mean, we're all hearing now about AI, about blockchain, about computing and cloud, and all these fancy buzzwords. But what are you seeing that's really impacting the way you're able to deliver your services? And do you have maybe an example of a company or story you want to share that's really making a real impact? And Khadija, we'll start with you and then go around.
So personally, I have a love and hate relationship with AI, especially when it comes to healthcare. We use AI, but solely for the provider side. So like I mentioned earlier, it's supposed to just make our goal is to make our healthcare providers more efficient, right? So AI in the sense that rather than focusing more on admin tasks, note taking, and the like, they are focusing more on providing the care for the patient. So all the other things you are able to, like use AI to do. So you have a consultation with the patient, whatever it is that was said, you don't have to focus on taking the notes. Like you get it right after to be able to deliver the most quality care. Um, where I have issues with, especially in healthcare, is it's your life. It's generally it's your. I don't know why you would want to depend on, because think of it this way: where is the data source? Where is it coming from? Is it just scraping the internet, right? And so many people put things on the internet. So you have the good, you have the bad, and you as a user, you are not a healthcare provider. So how are you even able to disseminate or differentiate that this this is actually true? This is because it is literally giving you everything. So that
Yeah,
is where I have issues with. AI, yes, it's a big game changer across industries, but we need to be careful of how we use it. That's pretty much it for me. We just need to be very careful of how we use it.
I'll confess I need to be better at not just using AI to determine whether I need to go to the doctor or not and just go.
Yeah.
So yes, I confess I'm one of the people you're talking about. I'm like, oh, AI says I'm fine. Yeah, thank you, Khadija. Adam, over to you. What do you see happening in your industry with these emerging technologies?
Sure. So I'm going to touch on two things, which is digital payments and APIs, and also AI and machine learning. So for digital payments and APIs, it's time like we spoke a lot about collaboration in this case, and it's one of the things that is helping some of these things where we are sharing APIs between each other to be able to create certain products that can have impact on. So these are making it very easy. I think one of the things we see the regulator bringing out soon has to do with open banking, where in this case we'll be able to share data. So she's able to share her patient's data with me. I'm able to credit assess them and all of that, and be able to pay for the bills, even for the farmers and all of that. The second bit will have to do with AI and machine learning. So you realize that currently our population keeps increasing. We are doing around 33 million in this case. Each of these parties would actually need financial, or in this case, to be having an account or be banked in this case. How can that be made much easier to serve a large audience of customers? So when it comes to running certain models to be able to, when you're scaling, if it doesn't become an issue in this case, because imagine every time you come to the banking hall, you had to go and bring your great grandmother or something to be able to open an account and all of that. There's no need for that. But some of these things make it easy because based on AI, we're able to take certain data, make it be able to link that to know who you are and all of that. Even with credit assessing you in this case, it makes it very easy. And even with preventing fraud, and it's one of the things that is very key when it comes to my industry. So in this case, how are you able to prevent all of this, make people's life much easier? And today, we see the likes of emerging technologies like blockchain and all of that coming in to make all of this much easy. So in this case, people's data will be much in a way that you'll be able to tap into that as more secured. And even in regards to payment, where we talk about the ECD, in this case, is going to make it available for all of these things to change lives and all of that. So these are some of the emerging technology. So we'll be able to be, we become more effective. We are able to scale at any time based on this technology to serve everyone at a particular time. So those are the technologies I mentioned for now.
Thank you, Adam. I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to you because you mentioned blockchain, and I'm
Yeah.
aware they do a few things with blockchain. But before I go back, please, for everyone who's still on, please, you do not want to miss out on this royal edition in Kumasi on the 4th and 5th of December. An early bird ticket, which is 50% off, is still available but ends on the 2nd of November. So go to techinghanaconference.com and get your tickets now. Adam, I was next to you when you hold this big check for doing things in the blockchain space. So I'm sorry, I have to come back and what is happening in this blockchain space? I apologize in advance.
Don't worry, that's fine.
Sorry.
So it's all about making our lives much easy in this case. So you realize that the government have seen the importance of some of these things to make our lives much easy. And also the Bank of Ghana has also seen the need for some of these things to happen. We have the likes of the CBDC, which is the central bank digital currency. It's more about moving into a cashless economy and make it easy. Now, I always say managing cash is really expensive. In this case, even transporting cash is really expensive. Now, when it comes to security, how secure can some of these things be? So today, you have someone calling you to perform a social engineering to get you sent funds somewhere. In this case, and then the money is lost. But some of these things will come to play to make it easy for you to even track how the monies are actually moved. In this case, to be able to even recover that as time goes on. And one of the huge factors has to do with government to person payment. In this case, government will be paying people's grants and all of that to them. Even for the MDCs or the DCEs in this case, how can we monitor that they're using the money for the right source? And blockchain is actually to power all of this, to make it easy for all of this to happen. And even with identity, I always speak, I think I had a fintech contact me talking about identity, and I told them it's one of the biggest issue when it comes here. But some of this blockchain is going to make it so easy for some of this to happen. So where you have all your information or a string of ledger in this case, so it's you're able to pass your data on and off in this case from different platforms, and it makes it more aligned to what the industry is moving into. So it's actually going to make our lives much easy and then make information sharing more secure and easy for faster in this case for all of this to happen. So that's how the industry looks like when it comes to the blockchain phase when it comes to payments. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you
sorry
for
I couldn't
catching
pick it up.
me.
Thank you, sir.
I know.
This is
Yeah.
I'm coming to you, but before you do your submission, I just want to ask, how many countries is Pharmaline in operating with this tech solution?
Wow, thanks for that. Technology, it's very dynamic and the fastest to scale. In terms of countries that we operate in, through partnership, we currently working in 50 countries.
Five? Or do you say
Five
50?
zero. 50.
50.
Yes.
50 countries.
We have
We
a
have a
location.
Ghanaian technology company sitting
Yeah.
here in Accra, but 50 countries around the world. And we have 54 countries in Africa. So are you only in Africa?
No, 50 countries across the globe. So that
Wow.
means
Oh,
we have partners that are using our technology, whether it's the AI component, whether it's the farmer education component, tracing the source of commodity from the village all the way to the port or last mile. Yes, we do have companies across 50 countries that are doing
50
that.
countries. And if I was not mistaken, it's South America, it's Asia, it's across Africa,
Yes,
Europe as well.
yes, yes.
So we have a powerhouse here. I just want to share
I
because
tell
we
you.
have these powerhouses coming to tech in Ghana. So if you're a techie, if you're looking to see how you scale your business, you're also in 50 countries, make sure to come to Tech in Ghana, the Royal Edition. But please, Anita, you've mentioned AI a lot, but how do you see these emerging technologies impacting what you're already doing and what you're looking to do in the future?
I think I was very excited about what Khadija said. AI, it's a good and a necessary evil at the same time. But for in our sector, it's about creating your own model. So we use AI. So we've been working in the industry for the past 12 years. AI is quite recent, and we are leveraging on it. You can use AI for good. What we do is we build our own internal, it's an in-house thing that we build. So we don't leverage on any external AI model. It's an internal AI model that we've built, leveraging on that to provide the right resources to the right people. So you're solving the actual problem. And I kept mentioning about providing education in local languages, about making sure that agriculture in this era is not just about 50 years plus and upwards. It's not just our grandparents that are still in agriculture. Leveraging on AI to make agriculture more interesting and innovative for the new, fresh graduates that wants to go into entrepreneurship, agribusiness, and all that to adapt that technology and then roll with it. I think for me, the impact models or technologies, I would choose AI and then connecting AI with the mobile apps, right? Because today, everybody can call themselves a farmer. Why? Because you can leverage on some form of mobile app that has been connected with AI and understand a bit about agriculture and how to manage your own farm, especially with the diaspora that a lot of them wants to go into agriculture but
Mhm.
don't know how. Just about that. And we have that in Farmerline. We have several apps that does that. It's called Just Farm. You can go and download it. So you go online, download it, ask it any questions, any ideas that you want to develop. Some form it would help you even build your own credit, your own knowledge, and then potentially trace your own capability when it comes to agriculture. So yeah, for me, AI it's a necessary evil, but it's been good. Yes, I speak on the good side of AI and the mobile application. Yeah.
So thank you. Over
Just
to
to
you,
add,
Kwame.
now
That's
we have
sorry.
AI speaking in 42 languages in Farmerline, and that was done in
42
42
languages.
languages. Yes, and that was
Amazing.
done in a very short while. Hopefully, before the end of the year, we are heading to 70 plus.
Wow.
All right.
Amazing. I have a feeling some collaboration is going to be going on. I see Khadija saying, can we get some of your language modules to add it to do good?
Yeah.
Please, we speak in chambers afterwards. Kwame, let's hear from you.
Let me just say, mind blown. But amazing stuff, really amazing stuff. Kudos to you guys, Farmer Line. For me, I'll come. I want to give a shout to Edem and then the fintech space. I think that the code that fintech has cracked, especially with mobile money, has created a certain fertile ground for education, right? So we have a situation now where now I can pay for courses, right? If there's a specific course I want to learn, just based off that foundation that fintech has afforded us, I'm able to do those things, right? So let's take it back to as simply as paying for data to be able to access YouTube, to be able to find somebody who is teaching maybe knitting, for example, or teaching something very specific. The other one will be our ability to be able to access platforms where there's a lot of if you like tutors on. So Africosity, for example, right? I want all of you guys to check out Africosity. So it's pretty much like the Ghanaian or the African Coursera or like the Udemy. Lots of exciting courses on there. You need to check it out. So yeah, so for the fintech space, fantastic. I think it's afforded us a certain ease, right, for both if you like developers and then users. Of course, the big elephant in the room, AI, right? AI has AI has come in with the bang, especially in the education space, right? So I heard the farmer line talking about, if you like, languages being translated into the local bits, right? Getting to close to about 70 languages in some years to come. So now think about this. We're having this whole conversation around how to, especially for basic education, right? Delivering teaching and learning in the local languages at the beginning stages of learning. Yeah, imagine leveraging on AI. AI affords us the opportunity to be able to do that.
Yeah.
The other bit has to do with like personalized learning. The fact that AI can detect and is able to tell the level of understanding that I am with regards to a certain particular subject or course or whatever, and then it goes to the extent of being able to assess me at the level that I'm at. Mind blown. So there's this really exciting Ghanaian edtech tool called Metaschool AI. It's an AI tutor. You guys should check it out. They're on Instagram and on LinkedIn, where you are able to go on there as a learner. It breaks down the topics. You're able to see a teacher who is teaching. And the beautiful thing about it is that I'm able to pause at any stage and ask the AI, could you go back? You said X plus Y is equal to 2. You skipped a certain level of the procedure. Can you go back again? And then it's able to break it down in bit sizes for you to understand the concepts. AI is also affording us the opportunity with one example is the Kuno reader. You should check it out as well. So Kuno reader is essentially there to solve reading proficiency. So you realize that at a certain stage in a child's life or in a learner's life, you want them to be able to read and comprehend. So the Kuno reader is able to interact with the child where the child is reading sentences, and where they miss words or they mispronounce words is able to help them pronounce those words well. um, the other one would have to do with the low bandwidth and distribution, right? Technology is affording us that opportunity, right? Isaac, I remember you touched on that. So for the rural areas, for example, the ability to be able to have low bandwidth distribution, offline sync modes, if you like, affords us the opportunity to be able to make sure that learners across the divide, right? So it doesn't matter whether they're in the capital or elsewhere, are able to have access to good quality educational resources. The last bit would have to do with, if you like, data platforms and analytics, right? We have the opportunity now to be able to track learning outcomes. There was this really interesting video I saw. I'm sure many of you have seen it, where in China they have learners in a certain school environment wearing headsets, right? Whilst the teacher is teaching, if your eye moves in a certain direction, it means you're not concentrating, and that's alerts the teacher, and then the teacher is able to bring you back. I'm sure we have our concerns about that, but I just want you to think about how we are able to make sure that teaching is as engaging. We want to make sure that we are tracking concentration. We want to make sure that we are tracking progress. We want to make sure that we are tracking, if you like, learning outcomes. And I think that's that great part about gathering data is one aspect that really excites me, because with that data we're able to plan, we're able to improve, we're able to, in a sense, get to a point where we say this is not working, that is not working. So all of these things are really exciting, me especially, about the education space.
Thank you so much, you guys. We're over time, but I
And
see people speaking in the chat saying they want to get in touch and so on and so forth. So can we just go through, say your name, your company, maybe your tagline, and if you want to reach out, where can they find you or where should go to get the information? Khadija, we'll start with you. Ladies first, no gentlemen.
Okay. So my name again is Khadija Emanuela Khadija Todban. The name of my company is Dr. Do Good. Make it easy for you to be able to access healthcare, leveraging on technology. So we have a mobile and web app that gives you access to over 200 healthcare providers and 53 facilities for both virtual and in-person consultations. We also facilitate medication deliveries as well as lab and diagnostics and wellness. So you can always book a gym session, a spa session for yourself. You don't have to be sick first before you use Dr. Google. So where
And,
where
and Please do
Where,
reach out to. Mhm.
where do you find us? Yeah, we're available on App Store and Play Store and web and USSD as well. Where do you find me? I'm available on LinkedIn, Emanuela Khadija Todman, and I should pop up. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Madam Princess.
All right. Thank you, Isaac. So my name is Princess Anita. The organization I work for is Farmerline. What we do in Farmerline is three simple things: providing farmers access to the knowledge that they need to grow food well in local languages, providing them access to resources to grow the food well, and then connecting them to market. We've been doing this for the past 12 years, currently supporting 2.3 million farmers, working with about 3,000 partners in 50 countries across the globe. Where do you find me? I'm available on LinkedIn as well as the organization. We are open for partnership and collaboration. So you can look me up on LinkedIn and then we can pick up conversation from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Adam, I'm coming to you.
Sure. So, Adam Clinton, it's very easy to find me. I think when you just Google my name, it's so easy to find me on all social media, especially on LinkedIn. But I have most of my articles on LinkedIn, so you can find me on there. Anything regarding financial technology and all of that, trust me, I'm the right person to speak to it. And it's very easy to get through to me. Yeah. My whole idea is to make people's life much easier and make it more fulfilling in this case. So anytime, just Google my name and you should find me. Yeah.
Thank you. And last but not least, Kwame.
Right. So my name is Kwame Nyatwame. You can find me everywhere, especially on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is Kwame Nyatwame. I began by saying that I'm Africa's biggest edtech enthusiast and storyteller. So if you're looking to find out what the pulse is like when it comes regarding edtech in Ghana and across the continent, I am the guy. I'm on Instagram. Type in EdTech with Kwame on Instagram. EdTech with Kwame. You see everything on there. You know what's happening in the space. On LinkedIn, I write a number of articles. I post. I do a lot of exciting stuff. You're thinking EdTech? I'm the guy.
Just quickly, Kwame, how many articles do you have in BFT and how many videos do you have out already?
So what's funny is I'm going to post my 29th video on LinkedIn today. In terms of articles, I'm going to post my 21st article of the year on LinkedIn.
I love that.
He's really the biggest tech enthusiast. I'm a close second. My name is Isaac Newton Aqua from the Innovation Spark. We ideate, we innovate, and we implement anything around startups, innovation projects. We're also there for the ABCs of emerging tech, AI, blockchain, compute. It was my honor to host today's session, the Royal Build-Up for Tech in Ghana 2025 in Kumasi for the first time, hosted at the in the auspices of the Ashanti Hini himself. So you would have a chance to connect with these great founders there and other companies. Jubilee Hall, Minchia Palace. Get your tickets now. You will cry if you pay full price. Get it still at half price. TechInGhanaConference.com until the 2nd of November. Thank you, Khadija, Anita, Adam, Kwame for coming on today. And I hope to see you all at Tech in Ghana this year. It's been a blast. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Sure. Bye.
Bye. So as they leave the Royal Build-Up, make sure you get your tickets. Make sure you come. It's been an honor. See you all very soon.
Our next edition in Ghana, I'm pleased to announce, we will be going to Kumasi. We will be going to Kumasi.